On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, we all know the Avs are a good team, but would we go as far as to call them pretenders? Somebody has. Let's talk about that. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. And make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram, and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, LockedOnAvalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. Make sure you subscribe to our subtext as well. Link to that's in the show notes below. When you do chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, we get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, which we share on this very podcast, which you're going to want to do with this season right around the corner. We interact with our subtext people all the time, but we get a lot more input from them in terms of game predictions. After the games are over, we get their take on it. We get their, 3 stars of the game. It's very inclusive at all times, but especially when the season starts picking up. So make sure you subscribe to that. All right. So a couple fun things we're going to get to today. You saw Toronto kind of do a fun little thing with their uniforms. So we'll kind of talk about that, get that a little bit later. And superstitions. I feel like we've touched on this at some point in the past. Do we have any? And what are they? So we'll go down that rabbit hole if we have one a little bit later. But where we're going to start today, and you have a look on your face like you have some.
No, I've probably developed some superstitions over the years that have plagued me.
Really?
And they have anchored me to the past.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk about that. But where we're going to start is, like I said in the opening, there is an article. This is over on sports. It's on si.com. I gotta admit, man, I have not seen this website before. It's called Breakaway. I guess it's just all hockey stuff. Have you seen this before?
I thought they were dead.
I know. I thought Sports Illustrated imploded and they're no more. But I don't know.
Who are you?
Yeah, whatever this is. I mean, it's a cool site. It's a lot of hockey stuff. Jacob Punturi. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but he has an article up on here where the headline grabbed me. It said, "Avalanche biggest Western Conference pretenders. Despite Stanley Cup ambitions, the Colorado Avalanche are the biggest pretenders in the Western Conference." And before I dive into this, do you feel just based on that there's any validity to this? Or before even reading the context, do you think that's a thought that a lot of people out there could have?
Well, honestly, and we've talked about this a couple times when it comes to opinions on the Colorado Avalanche right now. Mm-hmm. If you love them or hate them, if you have things to pick apart or bolster this team to have a possible chance at the Cup, you're right. And the thing is, with this headline, it was twofold. One, are they pretenders? And two, don't use that pretenders word so close to this Dave Grohl thing. I was like,
oh my God, I thought the same.
I was like, we're not doing this right now.
That's hysterical that you said, because I wasn't going to mention it, but I was thinking the same exact thing.
I opened it up with just a leery eye.
Yeah. You got another confession to make. But I don't think people pretenders is a very, very strong, if you call the Avalanche a pretender now, you just feel like they're just going through the motions for the season. And not that hey, what's the point? But it's we know that they're going to be a good team to the point of having a playoff spot, but they basically have zero chance. If you call someone a pretender, you are saying they have no shot at all. I can't go as far as that. The Avalanche are a very good team. And we did our it's coming out next week, or actually in a week and a half, but the division crossover with it was me, Predators, Jets, and Stars. So the top 4 teams from last year. And they're all concerned about the Avalanche in that they're still a good team. You know what I mean? So I don't think that the general consensus is that the Avs are quote unquote pretenders. Are they a head and shoulders above everybody favorite? No. Like, I think that was the 22 team that won it. But for this year, they're not that, but that doesn't mean they can't go out and win this thing. Is the percentage 0? Definitely not. Definitely not. And when you call them a pretender, you are saying like they just don't have a chance at all, which I would have to disagree with. I think they have definitely a chance.
And as you were saying all that, my brain kind of goes off into like a That's So Raven, like kind of zoom off into the future. And I'm looking at the conference going into this season. What other team in the Western Conference is saying that they're going to scare you? It's definitely not the Avalanche, because the story around the Avalanche has been cap crunch, the 2 big contracts, and how are they going to make this work? It's not really this team is poised for the Stanley Cup. That's not really been the narrative, where honestly it was the year after the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, and going into last year, like if everything kind of plays out, this team still looks good, because that was going off the Ryan Johansson and all the moves, the hype, like this team has a chance. The Avs have been relatively quiet. It's the roster that does a lot of the talking. But when you're saying pretender, I'm taking it as you're saying one thing, but you're really not. But this team is capable. Like Nathan MacKinnon is having a hard time going through like airport security with all the hardware he walked away from last year. Like they're not really a pretender. They're just good, like built well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I always go to when you get into the playoffs, that's are the Avs going to be a tough out? Yeah, I would, if everything goes the way it should go, they're going to be no one's going to roll over them. And I said, are the Avs head and shoulders above everybody else? No, but who is? Do you feel like there really is anybody in the Western Conference? I think a lot of people are putting Edmonton up there again, and I think Edmonton's a great team. But do I think that they're going to run away with the Western Conference or a President's Trophy? I don't think so. They'll be probably number 1, number 2. But I don't think they're like, I don't see a Boston team from a couple of years ago that just, how many points did they have? 130 something or whatever it was, like just a crazy season. I don't see that in the Western Conference. And when you don't have that, there's a lot to go around of teams feeling like they have a chance.
And, I don't think there's a team like that in the entire NHL that honestly you could sit right now and say, you could bet the farm they are winning the Stanley Cup. I feel like there's out of the 32, there's probably a good 12 that have a chance to put their hat in there and say, yeah, we have a chance.
Sure.
But when it comes to Western Conference pretenders, it goes back to when we break down the Central every time. I think it's the cream rises to the top. And everything else is just it's abysmal and stale and stagnant that the Avalanche are just kind of in this separate category where it's like the good part of the West, and that crowd is very small. And are they pretenders? Sure, you could probably say there are things that are wrong with this Avalanche team, but they still have Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Cale Makar.
And that's what he says in this article. He does say that. He's like, Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, still 3 of the best players in the league. Unfortunately for the Avalanche and their fans, that's a misplaced belief. The misplaced belief is thinking they can hunt for the cup again. He says that they are a playoff team, but like pretty much stops there. The main point he makes in the rest of this article is the goaltending. So that's why he thinks that they are quote unquote pretenders, solely because of the goaltending. But the odd thing that he brings up is, and I kind of feel opposite of what he's saying, is he said they have a good regular season, and the postseason was, I don't want to say abysmal, but that's kind of how he makes it out to be for Georgiev, not for the Avs, for Georgiev himself. Where I think the regular season, while he put up good wins, that's more than just him who got those wins. And his postseason, I thought, was excellent, save for a couple games against Winnipeg, but other than that, I thought his postseason was great. And he harped on the postseason, and the way that he phrased it was like, did you watch a game, dude? Or are you just going off of the numbers in total for what he had for the postseason and just writing this article based on that? Because if you watched, it started off rough for Georgiev, but once he turned the corner for the rest of the postseason. And I kind of have to disagree with him there. Is he right about goalie maybe being an issue for them? Sure. But the way he presents it of like regular season, they're great. Postseason, he's bad. That part I don't really agree with, because it kind of was not that Georgiev was bad during the regular season, but I don't know. That's kind of where I am with this. So the whole article is just solely based on goaltending.
Well, and to respond to this, the Avalanche won a Stanley Cup with Darcy Kemper. Where is he now? He's backing up half the league. And when it comes to Georgiev, yes, last year it was kind of wishy-washy when it came to his regular season. But my goodness, like the Avalanche have been unplugged in back-to-back playoffs because of Nichushkin. Like the emotions have been like, you could visibly see when that moment happened for the Avalanche, when all the wind was taken out of their sails, and they tried, but it was just discouraging, especially in the Seattle series. Like you saw the team get deflated, and then in the Dallas series, the same thing. Like, yes, Georgiev had a great remainder of the Winnipeg series, but he's not the problem. They had stuff going on in front of them that took the team out of it.
Right. So, I don't want to come down too hard on the guy. He's got an opinion. That's fine. But I think it's just a little bit misguided in how he's kind of throwing what he believes is the issue for the Avalanche. But we'll see. We'll see how this whole thing plays out. And I doubt that's bulletin board material for the team, but it is for me. I'll be revisiting that one later on in the year if we can. Sure, why not? So
yeah, we'll see.
Right.
I'm curious to see how it plays out, but I don't think the goalie is the number one issue.
No, I don't think so either. So, all right, let's get our first break in. When we come back, we'll get to some listener questions and ad combinations on the uniforms. What could be some fun ones? All right, we'll be back right after this. First, we're going to hear from Gametime, and it has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live event even easier. With Gametime Picks, it filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. It's a pretty cool feature that they have. I actually used it not that long ago, and it's right there. You can have it toggle on, toggle off. I'm like, let me try this thing. So you toggle it on, and bam, they just show you really good seats for really good prices. And it's just one of the many things that are great about Gametime. Some other things that you really love about this is the all-in pricing. You can toggle that feature on as well, and it shows you the total up front, no surprise fees at checkout. You have your seat views. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Of course, they have the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime, and with the NHL season right around the corner, you're going to want to load up that app and get your tickets to some Colorado Avalanche games. So download the app and create an account and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do apply. So again, create the account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it?
It's game time.
That's right. All right, welcome back. And we had a listener question, and I apologize, from one of our subtext people, and they sent it like a week ago, and I can't remember who it was who sent it. So if you're listening to this, which I'm sure you are, yell at me over at subtext because I forgot who it was. But they asked about superstitions, and do we have any? And, I know in sports, and I guess just in everyday life, people kind of go through their day with some superstitions that they have, whether it be when you wake up in the morning, what side of the bed you wake up on, to what shoe you put on first. But when it comes to sports, sometimes those things can get heightened. And personally, I don't have any anymore. When I was young, I had a lot, especially watching Bronco games. Like in those back-to-back years with Elway.
Bring those back, please.
Yeah, like I had a I say I had a lot, not that I like not in the Nomar Garcia Parra superstitions, but like I did the jersey where I'd wear the same jersey like on NFL Sundays, sit in the same position if they were doing well on the couch. Like I would do stuff like that. But I don't know what it is. I think just like as you get older, does that stuff just grow out of you? I don't know. Do you have any?
You're asking somebody to grow out of things, and I have a Pokeball sitting behind me. So first, two, I still subscribe to a lot of those superstitions. Like Avs game day, I got to be wearing Avs stuff like up till puck drop, and I have to wear. If they're home, I'm wearing my home jerseys. If it's away, I'm wearing away jerseys. Like you got to. And honestly, if they just don't have the mojo and they don't have the magic, I'm changing the undergarb of the whatever's under the jersey. I'm changing that up. And it goes all game long. I have to be glued in and I have to be a part. It's just a thing, because if I don't, I just feel like I'm letting them down. It's a weird thing.
See, I feel like I used to feel that way. And I like used to as in like maybe 15 years ago. So I'm not trying to say like, oh, when I was like a teenager, when I was like 13 years old, I felt like I was hurting the team. No, it was well into my 20s and maybe early 30s. But for whatever reason, I don't know. I think it just grew out of me for whatever reason.
Well, the amount of Avs stuff I have around me, it's like I have a partial investment in the team at this point.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's a fact. Yeah. So, no, you're invested in the team in more ways than everybody who's a fan is invested in their team, right?
And that's what it is. You feel like this is almost like a Green Bay Packers, like everybody's an owner. That's how you feel as a fan. Like you feel like if you're not cheering them on, like when it comes to those superstitions, it's not like if I don't, they lose. It's like if I don't, like I want to give my part. I want to cheer. I want to support. I want to be there, and that's my way of contributing.
You want to know one that I had a lot was the volume needed to be on an even number.
Oh, of course,
that one.
And I'm always, it's got to be a 5 or a 0.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? No, not now. I don't even. It's so weird.
Oh, my daughter does not subscribe to it, and I have to like literally close my eyes.
Yeah, that's funny. But I will say this. I do sometimes feel if I turn my gaze away, if I don't watch the screen, something bad will happen. That I still feel. Like I feel if I am watching, I have the comfort of like feel not that I can change what's happening on the screen, but that like like if I look away, then somebody will screw up because I'm not watching. Like I still kind of have that, at least maybe a little bit.
Oh no, I even have screens. Like this is a lucky TV. Like we win if I watch on my MacBook. Like we watch on my iPad. I've went through that the past couple years. Like these are hot screens. So
all right. Throw them out there if you got superstitions. Would love to hear them. Another question about the helmets. Do you prefer the blue helmets and pants, or would you rather they go back to the classic black gear? And the way I responded to him was, I didn't realize how much I don't want to say disliked, but I guess I am saying that, like disliked the black until it was gone.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of accepted the black of the black helmets and the black pants. And then when they went to the matching blue and then off-colored blue when they're away and they're wearing the white jerseys with the blue pants and the blue hats, I love the current look. And we saw some rumors going around of like, are they going to a white helmet this year with the blue jerseys? But I don't think that's the case, because in the rookie camp, they were, when they wear the blue jersey, they were wearing the blue helmet. So I'm assuming that's holding true for the regular season. Regardless, I like the blue pants. I like the blue hats. I'm glad they got away from the black.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, because I was like, you look back at all the great memories of the golden era of the Colorado Avalanche, and they all have the black helmets, and you're like, That's what I grew up with. That's what I know. And when they changed over to the blue, I remember we talked about it like, oh, the blueberry helmets, it's going to be weird to
People
get
didn't
used
like
to.
it.
And it took me about a couple games, and now I can't see myself like if they debuted a black helmet, I'm like, oh, I miss the blue. And
Yeah.
I think I like the blue the best.
I do. I really do. I think right now how everything looks is it's a really good look for them. And I wonder how long. Well, actually, because when Fanatics took over, I don't think there's going to be any changes for not this year. Obviously, I don't think next year. It's either 2 or 3 years that they said there was going to be no changes to any uniforms. So, and the Avalanche, they fine tune things every once in a while, every few years. So,
Except for the alternate.
The alternate, yeah. And I don't think anything changes are coming for that either. So I think what we have is what we're going to have for a little while, which would be kind of a long time for the Avalanche to do nothing to their uniform. So if you don't like it, you're going to be upset for the next few years. And if you like it, thumbs up. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, I wish like the Avs had something in their pocket, like Washington has the Screaming Eagle that they're going to use for like 6 games.
That's awesome.
Like, I wish you can, and the reverse retros are Adidas properties, so they can't get those back out of the closet either.
Yeah, so they'll come up with something fun though. So, all right, let's grab our last break, and then when we come back, obviously we'll get to these ad combinations and another question, which we'll bring up as well right after this. All right, let's hear from FanDuel, and you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. We have something a little different for you, and that's now through September 22nd, so not much longer. All FanDuel customers can bet $5, and you get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. And all you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. So remember, that goes through September 22nd, right around the corner. Just visit FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. Of course, that is FanDuel. We had another question about jerseys and just, ranking our favorite jerseys. And we went through and ranked logos.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the Pittsburgh Penguins as like one of my favorite logos, but I don't have them on my list for favorite like uniforms from, the whole kit thing.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't do anything for me. The logo is fantastic. The rest of the uniform, meh. But what do you have? Like, it doesn't have to be like best in league. If you wanted to do that, feel free to do that. But throw out your favorite kind of head to toe uniforms. Which ones you like?
Well, we're going non-Avs.
Yes.
Going into this season. And
okay.
I can't go way back, Machine, but I just saw it not too long ago, and I cannot get enough of the new Kings jerseys.
Yeah, just the old school. I mean, when you see that, you just see Gretzky.
Oh, it's such a good look.
It really is. Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Absolute home run of a look right there.
But I would go. I mean, the new Ducks is just knocked out of the park.
That would be my number 2.
Okay. All right. So we both have the Ducks. What else you got?
New Jersey.
Oh man, is that well? Okay. I mean, that is your East Coast team, so that.
And it's one of the most underrated, under talked about, great logos, good jersey. Just it's amazing.
Yep. All right. What else?
Seattle Kraken.
I knew you liked that one. Yep.
San Jose Sharks.
I love the Sharks. I've always loved the Sharks. The great logo. I've loved what they've done. Just all teal. That is great. So I'm with you on that. So we have Ducks and Sharks are two that we have the same. Your East Coast team is the Devils. My East Coast team is the Rangers. So I had to put the Rangers on there. I like Toronto's. Toronto Maple Leafs, they have a good uniform. It's a great logo, just classic blue and white. It's clean. I like it. Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, it's like a classic look that's like synonymous with bubble hockey. Like you don't even have to have the logo on it.
Yeah.
You go up to the bubble hockey table and like, oh, that's modeled after the Leafs.
It's just simple. It's just simple. And for this, I know you're going to hate this, Utah. And if you were not going to let me put Utah in here, I would have put Montreal.
Yeah.
Because Montreal's got a classic one too. So.
Yeah, that toilet seat logo.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Our boy Denker pitched in here with a nice question.
Two ghosts in one episode?
Yeah, right. If Sakic signed with the Rangers, how does this change the Avs' history? It's a good question, and it's next to impossible to answer because it's not like the Avalanche would have got players in return. Because if they got players in return, you could have said, now you could look back and be like, oh, those players worked out or did not work out. But the Avs would have got draft picks, and 5 of them, 5 first-round draft picks. So yeah, and you know, if you watch the documentary, they said like there was a moment of considering letting him go because 5 first-rounders is a haul. So who knows what they would have got with those draft picks, or if you package some of them together and trade some of them for some other budding superstar or a star or whatever. So it's just impossible to really answer that because, you know, what came back was just assets, wasn't humans.
Oh, but my friend, you're looking at the picture in this tiny box.
Mm-hmm.
If Sakic did go to the Rangers, would he be in the front office? And what would that mean for the rest of Avalanche history?
So, okay, yeah, you're going beyond playing career. I get that. Yeah, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing that.
No, with all the picks and everything that happened at that time, yes, the Avs probably could have built something, maybe had something sustainable at that time, but would Sakic still have that affinity for the Colorado Avalanche if he did go to the Rangers and then get to play with Messier and Gretzky at the time?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like, would he still look back at Colorado and say, yeah, that's hockey, after going to play in the just Madison Square Garden, for goodness sake? Like, you would see hockey and ultimate level talent in the locker room. Would he not go somewhere else and say, hey, I could follow the talent here? I could go. When Gretzky was coaching in Arizona, would Sakic tag along?
I wonder if he would have went back to once his playing career is over, because how would the Avalanche have felt? They would have felt burned. So would they have wanted him back? You know, that relationship could have soured. And he was not be welcome back with open arms. And we've seen a lot of players, come to the Avalanche and work in front offices and stuff like that. But that would have been a different animal. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, because the way I was looking at it was just his playing career. But it obviously goes beyond that. So in that aspect, yes, it would have had a major effect on everything after the playing career. But the years that he had left, we wouldn't know. It's tough to know. So
yeah, he learned how to wheel and deal in the front office in that moment.
Yeah. And then the last thing we're going to bring up is the Toronto Maple Leafs. We talked about their uniforms, how it's one of my favorites. Did something kind of creative, and they've had on their jersey ad for the past couple years now has been milk, just flat out milk. And their helmet ad, they got a new helmet ad for this year, and it's Oreo. Kind of creative, if you ask me, to have Oreo on the helmet, milk on your jersey. Are there other ad combinations that our team's going to start doing this now? First of all, because that's I never thought to do that, to have something that kind of goes together on a helmet and on your jersey. So maybe you're going to see this more. And if you do, what could be some that could be a good ad combination between your helmet and your jersey?
Oh, Jif peanut butter on your head, Smucker's jelly on your heart.
I was thinking something peanut butter. I was thinking peanut butter and chocolate, something like that. But peanut butter and jelly is obviously a better one.
I mean, that'd be the ultimate. Or like DiGiorno pizza on your helmet, and like ranch, like Hidden Valley Ranch.
Hidden Valley Ranch. Okay, that I like that. I was thinking like lids because they sell hats and then Hanes on
Oh,
the shirt,
that's
because
awesome.
that's
Yeah.
just literal. That's like you for a hat and a shirt. And I know Hanes does underwear too, but we're not sponsoring the underwear of NHL players. So I think that would be kind of just a basic one that I'm surprised they haven't done yet.
It's like the Devils when they had jersey and then hat.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when I
Yeah.
came up with that. Just jersey and hat. Exactly. Just do that. So I think that'd be a fun one.
And then a lot of teams already have committed a jersey sponsor and a helmet sponsor. So it really backs a lot of teams into a weird corner. Like, how do you follow this up? Like this Oreo and Milk sponsorship, because
Right.
everybody's talking about it. And then you go look at your team with like a bank on your chest.
Yeah.
Like, and there's so many combinations you can do, but like the Avs are backed into a corner because they have a helmet sponsor.
They do.
And they still don't have a jersey sponsor, knock on wood.
Thank God. Yeah. Yeah.
But I've heard like that may come eventually. So
I think so. I don't know. One other one I was thinking of, because we're music nerds, have Fender, whatever one, and then like DW drums on the other.
You would be a Fender guy. I'm against.
Or I don't care. Whoever. What do you want to do? Les Paul? Throw Les Paul in there.
Yeah, I'll do like a Gibson, and then like
Gibson would be cool.
And Dunlop, like for the picks.
Or about Rickenbacker? Put the Rickenbacker logo. I mean, that would take the whole helmet up.
Yeah, BC Rich.
Yeah, do that. So throw out some ad combinations too, because and like you said, the Avalanche do not have a jersey one so far. Thank God for that. Let's keep that going as long as humanly possible. So but throw them out there if you got any.
Maybe that's what the Avs social team is going to announce, but never will.
Yeah, but I got to say, man, with Toronto, like to do that, to have that idea, that's like the perfect. They knocked it out of the park. The first team to really do that, to have their helmet and jersey a combo. That's a perfect one. It's really good.
That's brand marketing, baby.
It is. It's really good. So, all right, that is going to wrap it up for today. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. For Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.